stories, real-life emergencies and dramatic rescues. This is Against All Odds. Even in summer, the seas round Scotland are bitterly cold, and conditions can change from fine to hazardous in a split second, as two surfers from Lossiemouth found out to their cost.
It was a February afternoon, just after school. We had maths last period, so it felt like we needed a treat. You could see that the waves were quite good because it was an offshore wind. We hurried down, and the sun was shining. It wasn't too windy. We got in and we started surfing. We caught a few waves. After about 45 minutes, the waves started to get bigger, so we decided to go a little bit further out.
What the boys didn't realise was they were heading straight towards a dangerous underwater current, which could sweep them miles out from the shore.
I'm sad back in, I think it's like through.
Malcolm realised that we were being swept out, so we decided that we'd both start swimming.
Malcolm was a very strong swimmer and paddled hard towards the beach, but Ewan was struggling.
I caught a wave in after about 15 minutes of paddling, and I could see that he had stopped paddling because he was out of breath. When I got in, I stood about knee depth in water to see if I could see him.
But there was no sign of Ewan. Malcolm knew he had to do something, and fast. Malcolm raced to the top of the sand dune to get a better view.
I could see that he wasn't making any progress. Because the waves were coming up and down, I could only see him every interval of the wave. I had just been in the water, and I knew from my experience that it was quite cold. And that's when I realised I needed help as soon as possible. I came down from the sand dune because there was a sand blowing across the beach. And then I was running against the wind. I had two suggestions where to go: across the river, which would be the shop, or across the bridge. The shop would have been closer, but that would have meant having to cross the river. I was really out of breath, but I tried to make it to the foam box.
Back in the water, Ewan had come up with a plan of his own.
About 50 to 100 metres away, I could see a buoy. I decided if I swam towards the buoy and made it there safely, I knew I'd be safe till somebody came to rescue me. So I had to swim against the current for about 5 minutes to reach the buoy. When I reached it, I just stayed there. Coast Guard, please. My friend's been swept out and he's been out for about half an hour.
Of course, Ewan was unaware that Malcolm had raised the alarm and had no idea how much longer he'd have to endure the freezing water.
I was cold. Couldn't do anything out there, so all I had to do was wait and hope help would come.
What will happen to Ewan? Find out later in the show. And if you want to stay safe at the seaside this summer, get ready for the Against All Odds Survival Guide. That's exactly what Malcolm Lang did when his friend Ewan got swept out to sea by a rogue tide. It was getting dark, and Ewan had now been in the freezing water for almost 30 minutes. He was unaware that his friend Malcolm had made it to shore and called out the Coast Guard.
Myself and a colleague made our way to the scene where Malcolm was waiting for us.
Yeah. You want to come?
I asked Malcolm to give me a rough direction and distance. By this stage it was starting to get dark. It gets dark pretty quickly up here at this time of year, in February. It also gets very, very cold. So his chances were at least 50-50, maybe not in his favour.
went over to where we could see over the water more easily.
Where actually did you see him last, Malcolm?
Well, last I see him 150 metres along the beach, and then we couldn't see him at all. And at this point I never knew that Ewan had reached the marker buoy.
It was now a full-scale emergency, and RAF Lossiemouth were contacted to dispatch a search and rescue helicopter.
I was on duty at the time at the search and rescue base at Lossiemouth. We got a call from the Rescue Coordination Centre to say that there was a child in difficulties in the water just off Lossie East Beach. There's quite a lot of emotion running at the time whenever you get involved with children in the water, because it's probably one of the hardest things that we're asked to do.
When I was hanging onto the marker buoy, it got dark and the water was very choppy. I was getting quite cold. I never knew what was going to happen. I could see people's houses, the lights from their houses. I could see street lamps, and I could see cars moving, everyday life going on. But I knew that they couldn't see me, so I was quite scared.
We were airborne in our helicopter within 6 minutes, and we were on scene at the incident, rough location, within 3 minutes.
Can't see him. Can't see it.
Don't worry, they'll carry on going until they do see him.
As we coasted out across the East Beach, we were slightly off course, and we actually overflew Ewan.
The helicopter flew over once. That's when I started to get really worried.
The captain brought the aircraft round into wind. From there, I was winched out and winched through the water to Ewan, who I could see was okay. I was concerned that he may be suffering from hypothermia due to the length of time he'd been in the water. Despite the ordeal that he'd gone through, he was quite calm about it, and I quickly attached him to the aircraft winch by placing a strap over his shoulders and winched him clear of the water.
I'm going to hold him now, he'll be alright now. That's it.
At that point I was quite relieved, but in a sense worried, because I didn't know what kind of state he would be in.
If that marker buoy hadn't been in that position, or if Ewan hadn't missed it, he would have been carried out to sea and probably wouldn't be alive today.
If I was surfing by myself and Malcolm wasn't there, I don't know what would have happened. So I'm really grateful for what Malcolm done, and he saved my life.
Ewan had a very lucky escape thanks to Malcolm's determination to get to shore and raise the alarm. Now it's my turn to be put under pressure. It's the Against All Odds challenge.